In 2015, something strange happened to Britney Spears. For the longest time on her Instagram accounts, all you could see were the usual celebrity-sponsored posts and throwbacks. The kind of stuff posted by a celebrity's social media manager, not the celebrity themselves. But then everything suddenly changed. Britney's posts became more and more weird and unhinged. Out of the blue, she started posting close-up selfies, emotional quotes, and memes about the single life. To most of the world, it just seemed like Britney was being eccentric and was just having fun expressing herself on social media. But her fans suspected something else, something much darker. They saw Britney's new post as a desperate cry for help. As time went on, her post got even creepier, like she was trying to give her followers some kind of riddle to solve. First, it was a photo of a Scrabble board with a caption about how she likes to make up words for fun. Then she started sharing videos of herself dancing emotionally to her ex-boyfriend Justin Timberlake's music, plus a bunch of posts of roses with strange captions. Was it a PR stunt, just a way to draw attention to Britney Spears again? Or was there something more to this? Her fans were getting worried that something bad was happening to her, so they tried communicating with her directly. Quote, "If you need help, wear yellow in your next video," one fan wrote in the comments of her TikTok videos, and a bunch of people liked that comment to grab Britney's attention. Her response was almost unbelievable. In the very next post, Britney wore a bright yellow top and even left this caption in the photo.
"My florist surprised me today by making the flower arrangement all different colors. I was so excited I threw on my favorite yellow shirt and just had to share."
The fans had their proof and they were convinced. Britney Spears was in some kind of trouble and she needed to be saved. But what they actually found out was worse than they could have ever imagined. Because the truth was that Britney was being held as a legal prisoner by her own father for more than a decade. For over 10 years, Britney's abusive father had her under basically a legal slave contract called a conservatorship, so he could work her to the bone while taking all the money. We've gone over a lot of modern examples of slavery on this channel, but this one takes the cake. The story of Britney Spears is perhaps one of the most disturbing stories out there when it comes to A-list celebrities, so stay dangerous and let's get into it. Britney Spears has gotten a lot of hate, and your business will also get a lot of hate if you have shipping delays. This holiday season, businesses will get over 10 million negative reviews, all because of shipping delays. So if you have a business where you ship stuff and you want to avoid having a bunch of angry customers, then you gotta check out ShipStation. ShipStation helps you automate most of your manual shipping work while also hooking you up with the best shipping rates out there, with up to 84% off from top carriers like UPS, USPS, and DHL Express. That's why over 130,000 companies use ShipStation, including Joe Rogan's On It brand. And getting started is super easy. It takes less than 5 minutes. Just sign up for the free trial and create an account. Then you can connect your merchant accounts like Shopify, Amazon, Etsy, and eBay. ShipStation supports most marketplaces and stores. And finally, you just connect your shipping carrier account, or you can choose a new carrier. And that's it. You can now start getting your products to your customers faster with less headache. This includes shipping automation, instant tracking updates, and a carrier comparison tool. So get ahead of the holiday rush while saving money on shipping by going to shipstation.com/JakeTran with the link below to get a 60-day free trial. That's shipstation.com/JakeTran for a free 60-day trial with the link below. Thanks to ShipStation for sponsoring this video. To understand why Britney's father would want to basically imprison her, you have to understand where their parents came from. Before Britney Spears became a global superstar, she was just a little girl with an amazing voice. She grew up in Louisiana with her parents Lynn and Jamie Spears, along with her siblings. But Britney's home life was pretty rough. Her dad had a bad drinking problem, and her parents were constantly arguing. All this turmoil caused Britney to turn inward, and she became a really quiet child. But then Britney found her passion, singing. She started singing with the church choir, and suddenly everyone realized that she wasn't just good, she had a gift. Britney Spears was a singing prodigy. And her parents saw a golden opportunity. Britney was good enough to be a star, so they put all their focus on making sure the name Britney Spears went up in lights. They invested the little money they had into Britney's success, they got her singing lessons, her mom even moved with her to New York so she could get more gigs, and Britney started landing little jobs in commercials and slowly started building a name for herself as a child entertainer. And then in 1992, at the age of 10, she got her first big break on a show called Star Search.
From Kentwood, Louisiana, here is 10-year-old Britney Spears.
When we stand together, it's It's our finest hour. We can do anything, oh anything. Keep believing in that man.
People loved her. It was obvious that this girl was going somewhere. And only a couple of years later, she got cast on a show called Mickey Mouse Clubhouse at the age of 12, with a couple of other soon-to-be famous celebrities like Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling, Kerry Russell, and Justin Timberlake.
I know a place. Ain't nobody crying. Ain't nobody worrying now. Ain't no smiling faces.
It wasn't long before Britney signed with a major record label, and by the age of 16, she was recording her very first album, the infamous Baby One More Time. This was the major turning point of her career, and on the outside, it looked like she became an overnight sensation, and she started selling hundreds of millions of records. To this day, that first album is still the best-selling album by a teenage solo artist in the history of all time. Britney had finally become the star her parents always dreamed about, but it wasn't long before Britney realized the dark side of being a super famous young naive celebrity. Once Britney became famous, her whole world changed. From the outside, it looked like she had everything: fame, money, success. And on top of that, she was dating the equally famous Justin Timberlake.
The audience already knows who I am. Of course. I will get out of the way now.
But after a few years of being in the spotlight, things started to go downhill. First, Britney and Justin broke up, and it was messy.
And it all happens as she's starring as a kind of villain in the tabloid accounts of supposed jealous arguments and then a horrible breakup with her self-proclaimed first love, Justin Timberlake.
You've had a rough year. You've had a year that would test a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Illness in the family, a breakup, this spasm of publicity about what happened from Mexico to London.
It was pretty rough.
She kept quiet about the breakup, but Justin spoke out almost immediately.
I promised to her that I wouldn't say specifically why we broke up.
Why has he gone on his shows and he's talking?
He's left the impression that you betrayed the relationship.
Prompting Justin to write the equally infamous song, Cry Me a River. All of a sudden, the tabloids and paparazzi were not asking her about her new music anymore. All they wanted to know was the intimate details of her fresh breakup. Photographers became obsessed with harassing her. It was almost like a game of which paparazzi could bother her the most.
Can I sit with you guys? Thank you, Britney.
I just don't like it when you get in my way of my pictures.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that,
Why don't
Britney.
you take one
I'm
right
a
now?
person just like you.
Why don't you take one right now?
Is everything good, Britney?
You're not listening to me. I said I want that studio.
It was a nightmare that no one in her position would be prepared for. But then in 2004, she met a guy named Kevin Federline at a club, and it looked like things were finally starting to look bright. They fell in love and got married just 3 months after meeting. Soon Britney had her first son Sean, and the following year their second son Jaden. It was everything Britney ever wanted. The money and fame was great, but all she ever really wanted was to settle down and have a family. She thought she was in the home stretch. But Britney's newfound family was something that the paparazzi just couldn't resist. It was a gold mine for them, and they started getting shots of Britney that were making the public hate her.
Britney, a bad mom. It's not like, did Britney record a bad song? Is Britney wearing a bad outfit? Is Britney in a bad marriage?
Yeah.
Is Britney a bad mom? I mean,
That's America for you.
yeah, but as a mother, that has to hit pretty close to home.
Britney started cracking under the pressure. It was basically impossible for Britney to leave her house without getting attacked by paparazzi. By 2006, she filed for divorce. She famously shaved her head in front of the paparazzi, and then a couple days later, she attacked a photographer's car. She was hooked on drugs around this time.
Could some of Britney Spears' recent strange behavior be due to her being unknowingly drugged? Spears' mother thinks so, and now Los Angeles police are taking a look.
Please, guys. No, guys, please, guys.
And Britney just grabbed the umbrella, started coming after me, and starts beating the passenger side of my truck.
And this all led to this legendary video.
When is it professional to publicly bash someone who's going through a hard time? Leave Britney alone! Please!
So now there was this brand new narrative about Britney in the press. She wasn't just some spoiled celebrity with a bad attitude. The media said she was mentally insane. And with Britney at her most vulnerable, the door was wide open for someone to come in and take advantage. And little did she know that someone would come from her own family. Britney's world was falling apart. Her ex-husband insisted that she wasn't mentally fit enough to take care of their kids, and the court agreed with him, and Britney lost custody to her children. Britney's children were her entire life, so she was devastated. Not long after, she checked herself into rehab because it was the only way she would be allowed to have visitations with her sons. And things went on like that for a while, but then one day in 2008, she had had enough. These were her kids too, and she wanted more time with them. So when the time came for her to send them back to their dad, she locked herself in a bathroom with one of her sons instead. And this decision changed everything. Obviously, the only explanation was that she was crazy, mentally ill. So she was admitted to a hospital for treatment against her will. And by the next day, her father, Jamie Spears, asked the court for him to be named Britney's legal conservator. But what exactly does that mean? A conservatorship is arranged when someone needs help taking care of their life and finances. It's usually only used for people who are on their deathbed or if they're in a coma or something extreme like that. Becoming a conservator means that you have complete and total control over a conservatee's life. You're legally allowed to make every single decision for them as if they were a child. So one would think that Britney's situation would be too tame to warrant anything close to a conservatorship, right? Wrong. Jamie Spears was appointed as the conservator over Britney's life and her estate. This was at a time when her net worth was around $40 million. This is according to estimates online, which are usually way off. So Britney literally woke up in the hospital to find out that her life didn't belong to her anymore, and she was furious. Her dad hadn't really been around, and now he wanted to step in and legally control her life at her lowest point? It was disturbing. So Britney tried to hire her own lawyers to get it overturned. But the court says she legally couldn't hire her own representation because she was under conservatorship. She basically had no rights anymore. Not long after that, her conservatorship went from temporary to permanent. Britney was permanently trapped. And you would think that if Britney was so far gone that she needed a conservator to watch over her, things would become a little easier for her. Maybe she would finally get the chance to step out of the spotlight and get her mental health back in order. But no, that was not her father's plan. Almost immediately, Jamie put his daughter back to work. Britney proceeded to guest star on How I Met Your Mother.
Sir, please don't yell at me. Because when people yell at me, I have a tendency to start crying.
She released a #1 album. She even performed 100 shows around the world. All in the same year that the court judged her incapable of taking care of herself. And one of the worst parts is that she wasn't even entitled to any of the money she was making. Britney was given a measly $2,000 a week allowance, while her tours alone were bringing in $8 million per week. All while her wholesome daddy was making double that and taking home a percentage of her tour's gross revenue. When all was said and done, he was making around $500,000 a year on average while he controlled Britney, while Britney's salary was less than a quarter of that. And in 2011, her father had a record-breaking year, earning $1.8 million. But it wasn't just her money or her life's work that he was controlling. Britney's dad was monitoring her 24/7.
Black Box Security says they monitored her communications by mirroring her iPhone.
You would be able to see all messages, all FaceTime calls, notes, browser history, photographs.
Even putting an audio recording device in her bedroom.
And when I took a step back and I looked at everything, it really reminded me of somebody that was in prison.
Every decision in her life had to be run by him.
Saying she wants to get married and have another baby, but claims she wasn't allowed to remove her IUD. She also described being denied things as basic as coffee, her driver's license, and her hair vitamins by the conservatorship.
And if she ever tried to fight back against the conservatorship, or if she decided to stop working, they would threaten to take away her kids and that she would never be able to see them again. Britney had become nothing more than a workhorse. It was legal slavery. And this conservatorship was granted by this scumbag, a judge named Reva Gertz. Reva Gertz is one hell of a judge. People have said she's extremely unprofessional, a disgusting judge who lacks any form of integrity or ethics. She doesn't care about the law at all. Literally the worst judge I've ever appeared before. She has a score of only 1.7 out of 10 from attorneys who have reviewed her performance, and a 1.0 out of 10 from non-attorneys who have had their cases appear before her. And interestingly enough, celebrity conservatorships, or slave agreements, seem to be her specialty. She presided over conservatorship cases for celebrities like Mickey Rooney, an old actor and producer, and Zsa Zsa Gabor, another old actress. By law, a conservatee must be notified 5 days in advance, so they have the opportunity to get their own lawyer before someone takes total control over their life. But in Britney's case, her father asked this judge to waive this right, and the judge granted it, keeping Britney in the dark. Once Britney did find out, she tried hiring her own lawyer to fight back, but this judge didn't allow her. Basically, this judge was doing every sketchy thing imaginable to push this conservatorship through. And then on top of all that, this judge then hosted a paid event with Britney's co-conservator and the attorney for her father. The event was called Conservatorships for the High-Profile Public Figure. Does it work? So just like that, the slave contract went through. But the very honorable Judge Reva Gertz and Britney's father apparently weren't the masterminds behind this conservatorship. Now that title goes to a menacing woman named Lou Taylor, Britney Spears' manager. On the surface, Lou Taylor is just a celebrity manager, just like any other celebrity manager. But the truth was, Lou Taylor saw celebrities like Britney as a goldmine to be exploited, and exploit she did. Before Lou was Britney's manager, she was systematically doing everything in her power to infiltrate Britney's life. Just as all the court drama with Britney started, Lou Taylor started stalking Britney. No, seriously, Britney even contacted her lawyer, saying that Lou was a crazy stalker sending random gifts to her house, telling him that she was terrified of her. When that didn't work, Lou started targeting Britney's dad. And bingo, that was her in. Once she got her in, most people believe that it was her who started convincing Jamie to put Britney into a conservatorship. According to Britney's mother in her book, Lou and Jamie worked together to plan Britney's conservatorship for weeks before it actually went down. And as all this drama was unfolding, Lou started making TV appearances to speak on the family's behalf so she could control the narrative.
Well, what's wrong with Dr. Phil's statement is that he made a statement. The family basically extended an invitation of trust for him to come in as a resource to support them, not to go out and make public statements.
And this wasn't the first time she tried this. She tried to convince Dina Lohan to ask for a conservatorship over Lindsay Lohan's fortune. And Courtney Love alleged that Lou tried to take over her estate too. But Britney Spears was her jackpot. Since she took control of Britney's life, her firm has doubled in value.
Let's look into Stonebridge Investment Counsel. It manages about $52 million of regulatory assets, and business has really boomed since the founding of the company in 2002. What you will see is before 2008, which is the year Britney Spears' conservatorship started, the assets were about half of what they are now. You may be wondering what Stonebridge Investment Counsel has to do with Britney Spears and her conservatorship. Oh, here it is. Louise Mary Taylor has been acting as president since August 1st, 2002. Mitchell only came on after, even though he's listed as the president now. So my working theory / opinion is that Lou Taylor got her claws into Britney Spears' estate and then very quickly funneled it into her own investment advising firm. The only two people listed as owners and officers are Louise Taylor and Mitchell Martin. Lou used to be a registered investment advisor with the SEC, but she's no longer. Now I'm going to look into the paperwork just to make sure that Britney's money did go to Stonebridge Wealth Management or investment advisors, so I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do have a working.
And she was doing super sketchy stuff with Britney's money and brand too. before the Britney Spears Foundation charity went bankrupt, with just $17 left in assets under Lou's watch, $50,000 of those dollars was donated to Mercy Ministries in Nashville, where Lou happened to be a member on the board. Lou was sued for failing to pay out commission for a $1 billion perfume deal she made on Britney's behalf, and she was doing everything she could to hide the conservatorship. Lou even bought dozens of conservatorship-related domain names to stop people from searching for answers. But despite Lou's efforts to keep it all a secret, some of Britney's loyal fans knew something was off, and they were about to help her break free. For years, Britney's hardcore fans knew that something was wrong. One guy named Jordan Miller even ran a website, as far back as 2009, that publicly advocated against the Britney conservatorship. And after just a few months, he got a call from Jamie Spears himself, telling him that he would destroy him if he kept it up. But even though some people knew that there was something disturbing happening, it wasn't until the New York Times released a groundbreaking documentary about her story that it finally caught the world's attention.
Britney was so focused. This is a girl that's coming from strength.
People became fascinated with her sort of unraveling.
How we treated her was disgusting.
She accepted the conservatorship was going to happen, but she didn't want her father to be conservative.
Anytime there's that amount of money to be made, you have to question the motives of everyone.
Why is her dad making all of her decisions? Why is she still in this?
What do we want? Free Britney!
And all this attention and uproar made something incredible happen in November 2021. After 13 long years under a brutal conservatorship, Britney Spears was finally freed.
Free Britney is a reality at last. Friday afternoon in a Los Angeles courtroom.
So I just want to thank all of you. I've got a client that I need to speak with.
Judge Brenda Penny releasing 39-year-old Britney Spears from the conservatorship that since 2008 had controlled every aspect of the pop star's existence.
People were ecstatic. Britney had finally been freed, and she actually thanked all her #FreeBritney fans for helping her escape.
I've been in the conservatorship for 13 years. It's a really long time to be in a situation you don't want to be in. So I'm just grateful, honestly, for each day and being able to have the keys to my car and being able to be independent and feel like a woman and owning an ATM card, seeing cash for the first time, being able to buy candles.
But the scariest part about Britney's conservatorship is that she is not alone, because conservatorships are actually an insanely profitable business. It's no secret that music label contracts are known to be predatory. Well, let's be honest, they are not predatory enough. So think of conservatorships as the ultimate music label contracts, where you don't just own the masters to a celebrity's songs, you own the celebrity. That is why they did this to Britney Spears. And that's why after the industry saw what they did to Britney Spears, they tried to do it with other celebrities. When Lindsay Lohan got caught in a bunch of public scandals, her and Britney's manager Lou Taylor also tried to put Lindsay Lohan under a conservatorship. But her dad caught wind of it and quickly shut it down. Now, whenever a celebrity steps out of line in the public eye, getting put under a conservatorship is a legitimate threat. And the great thing about conservatorships is that if the conservatee starts doing better in life, it shows that the conservatorship is working. But if they do worse, it just proves that they can't take care of themselves. It's a never-ending loop. So Britney may be freed and finally moving on to the next chapter of her life, like suing her dad for everything he's done to her, but we have no idea how many other celebrities are out there right now living under lock and key just like she did for 13 years. And it might not be even under a conservatorship either. There are celebrities out there right now that are constantly drugged up by their circle to keep them docile and working. But we'll save that for a future video. And if you want to know why celebrities always seem to end up depressed on drugs and vulnerable to a conservatorship like this, well then you gotta watch our recent video on why celebrities are always depressed, where we interviewed Arvid Ali, who's managed A-list celebrities before. It's personally one of my favorite videos we've done recently, and you can watch it right now by clicking the card on the screen. Click the card on the screen to watch now.